Welcome. My name is Bill McNee. I'm the founder and CEO at Saugatuck Technology. And today I'm here in San Francisco with Scott Skellenger, who's Senior Director of Global Information Services at Illumina, a genomics life sciences company. And Scott is going to share his observations and experience about the cloud.
Thanks, Bill. I think that really is an interesting question, and I think we are at an inflection point where we've really shifted from an emphasis on the back office architecture to one where customer experience rules. And I think that the cloud and the emergence of the industry and the development of the industry into IaaS and PaaS capabilities has really enabled the independent software vendors to optimize both the back-end experience through superior integration tools that are emerging today, and also the customer experience that people are used to at home. And so this convergence of back-end architecture, BYOD, and mobile platforms is really creating a holistic architecture as we put it together and develop it. BYOD is absolutely becoming synonymous with the new enterprise platform, and part of the reason for that is that people want access to anything, anytime, anywhere, and businesses and CIOs need to be able to enable that. And so as we build this loosely coupled business functional architecture, we have to worry about new things in this master architecture, such as how we're going to extract business assets into the middle tier and be able to fit those together with cloud-based services that we amalgamate externally as well. And so really getting a grip on how we're assembling this, being deliberate about doing it, will really pay dividends in the long run for business. One thing that's critical is being able to figure out where your business roles and data assets are. Historically, over the past 20 years, many of those have sat in customizations instantiated in monolithic architectures like monolithic ERP. And so what we have to do now is we have to figure out how to extract those business rules and data assets into a middle strategic layer so that we can own those, and that once we go out and create contracts and relationships with these business functional providers who have canonized 80% of goodness that's been developed over the years, then what we can do is only customize where we need to, but do it in our own domain and ensure that we maintain that loose coupling, so that if we ever have to change an HCM, or if we ever have to change an LMS, or if we ever have to change a CRM, we can do that without ripping the business apart. One issue that we have as we start to make this shift to business functional architecture is really ensuring that we manage the environment and the architecture holistically as a portfolio, because we're going to go out and negotiate these contracts with any individual one of these providers, and we have to ensure that we're managing that portfolio holistically. And as we shift to going outside to get help as we create this implementation, we have to ensure that the integrators that we're working with, the integrators that have been around for a while, that know the playbook very well, and those that are emerging, really consider first things first. And so we have a tendency to want to go all technology and do it as quickly as we can, and hope that those proprietary solutions are going to carry with them everything we need as a business. And I think what we have to remember is that business rules and the development of key signature business processes, the governance of those processes, is absolutely critical to optimizing our own business KPIs. The notion of proprietary architectures is critical, and one of them, and the reason for that is that as the cloud develops, most of the architectures are becoming more proprietary within the ISVs and within the individual functional capabilities, and I think that's okay. What we have to do is find a way to modularize those capabilities and loosely couple them together by only changing what's absolutely necessary in those functions, extracting them into that strategic business asset layer that we own as individual businesses, and not worry too much about the way that things are being implemented and more about how we consume them and fit them together. I think the three things that CIOs and organizations really need to remember as they go to the cloud is to try and be as ruthlessly vanilla as possible with implementation. And I think that's one. I think historically we don't want to create the rigidity that customization created in our legacy ERP systems over the years, because we know how much pain that contributes to over time. I think the other thing that you got to focus on is integration. So we have to define the cloud core. We got to figure out how all of those atomic business functions are going to fit together, and how we're going to pass messages, how we're going to contain and manage our business assets so that they really become strategic properties of ours, right? And I think that the third thing is we want to manage execution above all else, because when you're dealing with so many partners and you have so many different relationships and contracts, you really have to ensure that execution goes well and everyone doesn't play by the same rules. So you really got to be able to bend and evolve as you continue to implement.
Scott, thanks so much for being with us today. I really appreciated you spending the time and sharing your experience, and I look forward to seeing you at the Cloud Business Summit on November 14th.
My pleasure. Thanks, Bill.